What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite pond, the Coy Pond, episode 79. As you might notice, this week we're doing a remote episode. I know, an absolute favorite of everybody's. I'm joined with my friend. He's your friend. It's Matt. He's our stand-in Cowboys fan for when K-Dog can't join us, as he is a little bit busy this week. And as always, you know you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music. And as always, leave your question in the description at speakpipe.com. As we get into the off season, we're trying to think of new ways to do things, new videos to do, new podcast episodes. I can announce that Hot Sauce Trivia is on its way. It's in early development, but we're figuring out the rules and what we want to do with it. So that's a little exciting news for everybody. Schedule release is happening right now as we're recording this. We'll touch on that here in a little bit. And in the meantime, because it's episode 79, in the spirit of that, favorite players to wear 79. And I think Matt would probably attest to this. There's not many players that wear 79.
Yeah.
So I just went ahead with some of the greatest one that I could find online. Played through 1953 to 1965, according to Google. And it was Roosevelt Brown, a 9-time Pro Bowler for the New York Giants, and a Hall of Famer. So, shout out Roosevelt Brown. Absolute pitiful performance, but I don't have Kevin's amazing brain to be able to list off the 17 players on the Cowboys that played under 79. Exactly. His brain is beyond mine in that realm. I cannot help anybody with that this week. But schedule release. Matt and I were kind of taking a look at some of the schedule release videos. Chargers, as always, I'm just going to say it now. They blew it out of the water. Absolutely hilarious, Easter egg packed Minecraft schedule release. I'm sure that's going to kind of be held again as the standard as they usually are. Titans, they did a pharmaceutical ad where the side effects were the teams that were the schedule of their season, the 2025 season. Apparently, the Colts just did a similar Minecraft one, but it was a bit worse.
A lot worse quality.
So, I guess the Colts Chargers were thinking on the same wavelength. I'm trying to think. I think the Bengals on Twitter, at least, did schedule release, but it was as SpongeBob memes that I saw. So I don't know if they have a video with that or not. That was a bit meh. And I'm sure, the rest of the teams did various other schedule releases. It's funny how that's become such a standard at the start of every year after the draft. But
top 5 power ranking next week.
Yeah, top 5 schedule releases next week. But honestly, it's just funny. It literally came out 40, 50 minutes ago while we're recording this, so we're not going to go into that too much today. But based on the thumbnail and the title, you can probably take that we are doing the way too early NFC power rankings this week. And you can thank Tyler Sullivan for his rankings. And that way, neither one of us get our feelings hurt too badly. We're going to go through and kind of chat through why they're at whatever spot they're at. And, maybe we'll move some stuff around. This is more or less just a discussion. And I think there's might be some hot takes in here. That's for you guys to decide. Leave a comment underneath the video if you think the same thing. And without further ado, let's see who number 16 is, shall we? And the arrow didn't work. That's a shame. 16, Saints. New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr, he retires. The Saints are...
And they didn't draft a quarterback.
They didn't draft a quarterback. What are they, up a river without a paddle? Down a river without a paddle?
Up Schitt's Creek without a paddle.
Yeah, you know what? Saints kind of in hell on the salary cap. They have Spencer Rattler. I think they have a couple other quarterbacks that I can't think of off the top of my head that aren't Taysom Hill.
Don't have any weapons either.
No, I mean, Chris Olave might be trade capital for them this offseason before the week 1.
Now too, though.
Exactly, so that capital has dropped through the floor. I think it's fair to put 16 be the Saints.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. When you think about the NFC South, they're right now with the potentially worst future. So, not much else to say there. Saints are going to be a bit of a dumpster fire. I don't know how Kellen Moore's going to fix that. But, you know what? We'll have to see. We will have to see. 15. New York Giants. I would say this is their absolute floor. I think this is doomsday scenario. 15, the Giants, nothing goes according to plan. However, I would say they've got they have a way better chance to have a better season than being 15th in the NFC.
I agree.
They had an amazing draft. Go ahead.
Sorry, I think they're at least guaranteed 6 losses. I think the division sweeps them.
I could see it.
The Commanders, the Eagles, and the Cowboys are all going to 2-0, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So they're already starting the season 0-6 in my head. And then I still don't know who the rest of the games they play. Yeah,
right.
And they also have a very young core with Neighbors as the wide receiver, and then who they get? Dart,
and then Abdul Carter.
Yeah, so they're all very young. I think in a couple of years it could be a very solid squad. I think this year 15 maybe too low, but they're right around that bottom 4 mark.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where they need to prove it, and we keep hearing about how the head coach there, was it not Dable? Is it Dable? Brian Dable?
Yep.
How he's a quarterback developer. He developed Josh Allen, and he loves Jackson Dart apparently. I think they will probably end up more in the 13 to 12 range, but there's a lot of things that would have to go right in that time where they don't mess up a first round quarterback that we've seen happen over and over again now for years.
Yeah.
So definitely some upside there. I don't think 15 is the worst thing. I think 15 is the worst they could do, is all I'm getting at. On to 14, we've got Carolina Panthers.
This is too low.
This feels low. They have the 2 of the 3 bottom teams are in the NFC South. Bryce Young ends the season with just phenomenal stats compared to what he's done
as well.
I mean, absolutely incredible.
They're drafted around him very well this year, and they got that wide receiver. I like how they said they got him a tall wide receiver so you can see him. Which sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, was it Terrora McMillan or something like that? McMillan. But if that same Bryce Young carries over into the 2025 season, I think the Panthers have a really good year.
I think that division's a wild card.
Yes, that division's not tough. Tampa clearly runs it without a doubt. But that Bryce Young,
Falcons have now?
Penix Jr.
Is it Penix Jr. who's unproven?
Baker Mayfield.
And then Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, who are both kind of injured towards the end of the last year. Baker gets hurt a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely not out of the realm. I'm just saying that NFC South has been a dumpster fire for a while.
Yeah, I think they can squeak.
I think they have the potential to squeak in if Bryce Young stays what he was at the end of last year.
I agree.
I don't know if we know that he'll do that. I want him to. I'm rooting for him. The Andy Dalton effect on him has been immaculate. There's no better feeling right now than watching the Carolina Panthers potentially beat the Chiefs. That overtime game was awesome. But I need to see more of it. I want to love the Panthers. They're just so hard to be loved.
They're just 14 such a safe pick as a power ranking though. That just means they have no I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. They could definitely do probably 12. I would put them.
I'd put them 10.
All right. Hey, let's see who's around here. At 13, Seattle Seahawks. Okay. Seattle in the offseason loses DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Picks up Sam Darnold. And you know what? Sam Darnold was kind of in an amazing situation last year. I think that last game versus the Lions kind of showed that a bit. Think about Sam Darnold, and he's got Justin Jefferson, Addison, Aaron Jones, Naylor,
Hawkinson, the best defense in the league.
Pretty good defense. And now we put him with Seattle with Njigba. And all I'm saying is Njigba's not Justin Jefferson yet.
But they got Sam Bobo.
I think they've got Bobo. You know what? You've made your point. And Charbonnet and whoever else. I can't remember who the other running back. Kenneth Walker, yeah. I don't know. I feel like Seattle takes a step back. I like Sam Darnold a lot. He's a younger quarterback than Geno Smith, clearly. And that coach has been pretty good. But the rest of that division, 49ers, Rams, and Oh my God, why am I blanking? Oh my,
Cardinals.
the Cardinals. I don't know if I think they might be fourth in that division right now.
I think Seahawks should regress. I think the Panthers do end up more wins than Seattle this year.
I could see that. I don't doubt it. Nah, I'm trying to remember. I think Seattle added to their defense as well.
I mean,
I don't know.
They're always a mid team.
I know, but also going out and playing Seattle is different than going to Carolina and playing there.
Yeah, fair.
And I don't know. They have cool jerseys. I just want Bryce Young to do well. His bottom is so bad, but his upside was so good last year.
Yeah, I don't know. But back to the Seahawks, I feel like losing their two of their three main wide receivers is just too big of a loss. They're just going to double Njigba the entire time. Any competent, decent defense is going to lock up the Seahawks.
Yeah, it feels like it's not rocket science. It's quite literally easy. But maybe I'm wrong. Number 12, Arizona Cardinals. Focused a lot around the defense in the draft, free agency. Marvin Harrison Jr. Can he be the wide receiver that he was drafted to be in Arizona? So we got Kyler Murray. I think he kind of beat the Call of Duty allegations last year a little bit. You know, to be honest, thinking back on it, I remember that being a big deal every end of October, beginning of November, I think it is. James Conner, solid running back. Again, still playing with Bunsen, McBride. You know, offensively, this team should go. You have to assume Marvin Harrison makes some big improvements into his second year.
Marvin Harrison was the problem last year, though.
No, I don't think so.
Murray was the problem last year, getting him the ball.
Yeah, without a doubt, but also, you know, he didn't have the production they were hoping he would have.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering that, I might be off a little bit, but Cardinals always fly under the radar, no pun intended. And they have sneaky wins, and they all of a sudden have great defense, but then Kyler Murray disappears. Then they play easy teams and win by 50.
I think 12 is their high. Like, I feel like this is a good rating, but I don't see them going any higher.
If they stay healthy, I like them 12 to 10.
Okay.
I think realistically we're looking 14 to 12. I think probably 13 would be my safe rating for them if I was to do these or redo these. Again, these are way too early NFC power rankings. There's nothing. This
division and the South can flip flop teams from the bottom three over and over.
I could see that. I could see that 100%. The
Niners are in shambles. The Cardinals, who knows? Question mark. I feel like the Seahawks regressed, but I think the NFC South improved, but they're also still the NFC South.
Yes, without a doubt. They cannibalize each other with mid. Yeah. It feels like, because each team has to play each other twice. They're just
when they play each other, you don't even know they're on red zone.
No, you don't. You really don't. Okay, looking to 11. The old Dallas Cowboys. This one shocked me a bit. I'm not gonna lie. With how the NFC East has gone for several years, I'll give it to Tyler, who made these ratings or made these power rankings. New head coach is a big deal. I, without a doubt, believe a new head coach takes a little bit of time. Definitely doesn't make them worse by any means, but it's just a different vibe. Takes a little getting used to. But they'll have a healthy Dak. And when these ratings were made, George Pickens had not been traded to the Cowboys yet.
The only thing that scares me with the Cowboys here is Martin retiring.
Yeah.
That's a big loss, and that's a rookie stepping up in those shoes.
True. But they did get the guy from Alabama, Tyler Booker,
yeah.
I think his name is. I think they kind of did the best thing possible and really they drafted for their O-line, clearly. And then they got George Pickens.
I think they'll be on the bubble. I think they should be 7 or 8. I guess
I would agree.
Like they could have more wins than the top of another division, but still not making the playoffs because of it.
I can see that, and I agree. I think Cowboys realistically, I put them anywhere between 9 and 7. 9 being Dak gets hurt again, 7 or 6 being everything's hunky-dory.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have Cooper Rush or Trey Lance anymore.
True, Chargers got Trey Lance.
Yeah,
lucky us. But also, this might be the hottest take, and this is why I'm saying it on way too early power rankings. George Pickens going to the Cowboys, I don't hate. George Pickens has not had a legit quarterback with Pittsburgh yet in his career.
Yeah.
He's played in the AFC North, That's just a tough division to play in. He's had Russell Wilson. He's had Kenny Pickett. He might have had someone else too. Maybe not. But now he goes somewhere where he doesn't have to be a wide receiver one. He can show all the time because Cowboys fans are crazy like that and love it. And Dak Prescott will throw the ball.
Yeah.
A solid passer. That really, I feel like a change of scenery with that, knowing he has to prove it on a contract year, might be enough to get a good year out of him.
The egos were the only thing that scared me.
Yes.
I mean, everyone's seen the video of last year where he pulled down the Cowboys face mask. Who was that?
Yeah.
Was that Diggs?
It probably was.
Yeah.
And that scares me as if I was a Cowboys fan.
If they can work that out, it'll make me more comfortable with this. But so many podcasts and things, I'm sure we'll hear about it.
Yeah, we'll have to see. 11 is a hot take, though. I will admit, 11's a bit aggressive for a team that's made it to the playoffs several years. This is a bit insane to me.
Too high.
For several reasons. It's Michael Penix Jr. We have not, he didn't have a bad couple starts towards the end of last year, but we haven't seen a full season. The expectations for the Falcons after they benched Kirk Cousins, the writing was already on the wall at that point with how Kirk had played up into those games. So, you don't start the season off with he's the chosen one, which is smart on the Falcons' part, but they waited for Kirk to be down, to be kind of in the dumps, and they're like, hey, take a couple weeks off, old man. And they put him in. Now, they do have Bijan Robinson, they have Drake London. They've got some absolute weapons. I think Kyle Pitts is still there.
Yep.
They have everything it would take
Mooney
to, work around a new quarterback. And they've really gone after some linebackers and defensive linemen that were kind of holding back the defense last year when it came to clutch situations. I think their ceiling is high, to be honest. Again, it's the NFC South. I think 10's probably their ceiling at most.
Agreed.
I think they could fight for 9 or 8, depending on if they're in the battle with the Buccaneers again for the division. But also, I feel like there's such a bigger downside to this not working I guess they'd still have Kirk Cousins as of right now. But Michael Penix Jr. being a rookie quarterback, it just feels weird. His first full season, or first starting season.
He'd be like 27.
Yeah, that's true too. I forgot about that.
He's not the
I don't know what to expect. I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Matt?
I'd basically the same as yours. I mean, I think this is the ceiling. I don't. Everyone's very high on Bijan. I think it just might be a personal thing. I just don't think Bijan's like Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, McCaffrey levels.
No.
And I hear people talk about it like he should be. He's had 1 year. He did have a bad year. But with, as you said, they have all those weapons. Kirk Cousins, he didn't have the best year, but they had all those weapons, a decent defense, and he still didn't really have that great of a year.
I agree. I think they went a little bit harder this year to try and bump up the defense. I think last year was more offense, and they're trying to form it out now. But again, it's like, okay, so now you have a bunch of new players, some rookies on defense, and you're trotting out second year, but really his rookie season, Michael Penix.
Yeah, and majority of the year last year, everyone was healthy.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's like as best of a year you can have as everyone's healthy. So not including potential injuries coming to this. If one big player goes down,
it's a bit different.
Yeah. So
I completely agree. On to 9. Let's see who godforsaken's at 9. The Bears.
I will not be speaking on this one.
I think you are, but I'll get it off first. Bears bring over Ben Johnson from the Lions, offensive coordinator. Idea being obviously that get a little bit more offense out of the Chicago Bears than previous years. They drafted around Caleb Williams. They obviously picked up offensive linemen in the offseason this year. Some might say a couple of those players were great pickups. A couple might say 1 or 2 of those players might have been the worst one they could have picked up ever. I'll let you be the judge. But 9 is kind of crazy when you think about Vikings, Packers, Lions, Bears. And 3 of those 4 teams, I think, had 3 of the best NFC records last year. Or, yeah,
so
out of the top 5, I
Lions
think
and
there
the
were 3.
Vikings final game was for the number 1 overall seed or the 5th seed.
Yeah. So, an absolute dominant division as of last year. And you're working with Caleb Williams, who had boom or bust games. I remember, I think it was like some games he'd have 350 yards of passing, and other games he'd have 90 something. The O-line was tragic. They've apparently addressed that. They brought over some, was it Sweat? No, that was a different team that brought over Sweat. The Bears' defense has been okay. It hasn't been the main focus of the entire thing. But 9 feels a little high. I'm not going to lie.
9 is very high.
I think 9 is everything works out according to plan. Ben Johnson is the Messiah, and no one gets hurt.
God himself couldn't fix Caleb Williams.
I think realistically, the Bears will be looking at 11-12, maybe 13-12.
God is not a Bears fan, man. They're bottom 3.
You think the Bears are going to be bottom 3 next year, as of right now?
They are guaranteed going to be bottom of their division. I won't say bottom 3 because, I mean, we still got the Saints, potentially the Panthers.
Right, you know.
Like, we still got
there's a couple teams.
Like, there's still a chance there, but they're like, yeah, they're never going to be near a wild card or anything. 9's kind of in that bubble area. They're never going to be anywhere near there.
Okay, so you're sincerely thinking 15-13 is where they end up.
In a couple years, they might have it, but yeah, they're not going to be anywhere good.
Yeah, I feel like they drafted a wide receiver. I feel like an idiot right now, not being able to remember who the Bears drafted. But
I've said it podcast after podcast every single year. It's the year of the Bears. The Bears are going to win their division.
That's
the
true.
Bears are going to do it this year. It's the hype, and then the season starts, and it's the fall.
Yeah, I think Ben Johnson could help. He had a weird first little press conference when he arrived there. But if anybody can do it, it's going to be Ben Johnson, it feels like.
I'll agree with you with that. But I still don't think Ben Johnson can.
It's a first year.
1 year flip that division around.
I would agree with you. I think it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a little bit longer for that to happen. We'll see. I don't think they'll be bottom of the NFC. I don't think they'll be wild cards. I could see them 12-9. Realistically, if we maybe more like 13
You're more
13-10.
I'm just a hater, but
no, I get you. I get you.
The past few years has been on par, so I'm gonna stick with it.
You know what? I'll commend you for that one. You've been consistently a hater. 8, we've got Minnesota Vikings being led by J.J. McCarthy and a little bit of a revamped O-line. Still got Aaron Jones, Justin Jefferson.
Good defense, though. They didn't lose too many pieces.
Yeah, I think they only lost 1 corner. That was kind of a big deal, and it might have even been to retirement. That coach up there, is that TJ McConnell? Is that who that is up in the Vikings? It's a bit of a wild card off the top of my head. Nevertheless, Vikings at 8. Should be interesting. I don't know what happens to the Vikings. It really rides a lot on J.J. McCarthy and his ability.
Kevin
O'Connell. Damn it, why did I have to say TJ? Kevin O'Connell's done a lot with not too much over the last few years, given you still have Justin Jefferson, a crazy good defense, a new stadium, and a few other aspects of it.
He has a lot to work with.
Yeah, he does. Now that I'm saying it out loud, he does have a lot to work with, doesn't he? But came into the...
Sorry, after you.
I don't know where I was going with that. You can go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like the Vikings, I still think they're a playoff team this year.
Right.
I'm kind of in awe that it's 8 and the Packers aren't here yet. We'll get to them eventually, I'm sure. But yes. I still think the Vikings are top 2 in their division. I still think they'll be a solid playoff team. I think they regress a little bit.
Right.
Because J.J. McCarthy is going to be his first year actually starting. He's got, nerves, everything there.
Right.
But I don't know. There's something about it. I feel like they regress a little bit, but I still think they're going to be... I'd probably put them top 6 in the NFC.
Yeah, you know what?
I think it's a little under ranking.
I would agree with that. It feels like the Vikings, I never expect anything from them, and they always over-deliver. 8, I would say, is the lower portion of where they'd be ranked. I wouldn't even say it's their floor. But realistically, I
mean, like I
don't
said,
know. I
they
can
were
see.
15-2 going into the final game of the season with the potential 1 seed in the
Yeah,
NFC last year, and not many changes
Sam
happened, and they only swapped out a
Sam
quarterback to a
Darnold.
younger quarterback.
Now, yeah, no, you're right. I'd probably
So,
put them 7 or 6.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Putting the potential number 1 overall seed in the NFC
That would have been
to
wild.
8 just feels crazy
Yeah,
to me.
I agree. I thought they did lose a little bit more on defense, but maybe I'm crazy. I just feel like it's hard to repeat that sort of thing when I guess it was Sam Darnold. I keep being
I'm
like, but
not
they
high
changed
on Sam. I'm
quarterbacks.
not high on Sam Darnold. I think that dude's
No,
bomb, but
no, you're not wrong. And the other side of it too is definitely like they really didn't change much.
it's literally just going to be like a basically rookie quarterback going in there.
Yeah, you
And
know what? I
obviously, they
think you've
saw
talked
something in him in order not to give Darnold
right,
another 1-year contract.
right.
So
Yeah, no,
I
I
don't know.
think you've
I
I
can see
think
it
you've
like
talked me into like 6'5", 5'6".
I'd say 5-6 for sure.
All right, there we go. San Francisco 49ers at 7. All they really changed this offseason is Deebo Samuel. I don't know how I feel.
Ayuk's
Because
probably getting traded soon.
maybe this is a prove it year. You know, he was a big complainer probably because Deebo Samuel was his competition on the 49ers for wide receiver.
Yeah.
Ayuk did get hurt like week whatever last year early on. So if the 49ers don't have 1,700 injuries this season,
CMC's not going to be fully healthy all season. He just came off
no,
2 double Achilles, whatever. Or
I know,
ACLs.
but they also made any running back work last year. I mean,
I think that this is an overrank by a lot.
You think 7's high?
I think 7's very high.
Really?
I'd put them like, I won't say very high, like 11-9. I'm not high on the Niners.
I put them 5 or 4.
I don't know. The team just feels like it was in turmoil in the locker room all last year. They got rid of Juszczyk. They got rid of Debo. They're about to get rid of Ayuk. They really haven't added much to the wide receiver core. They still have Kittle, but Kittle's getting up there in age. They have Purdy, and Purdy's shown that he can choke under pressure. I'm a Purdy fan, but he's just shown that he can't come up in big games. I just feel like they really haven't done much to improve, and I feel like they looked really sloppy last year with the injuries.
I think if this team stays healthy, they have almost no little change only because it's that same core group, defense and offense. They had a couple players, Debo and someone on the defense, I think, drop out. But I mean, they still have Franz Wagner. They still have Nick Bosa.
Player.
I can't remember who there's a Wagner.
Bobby Wagner.
Jesus, you just watched me flop like a fish there.
Franz
you
Wagner's
knew damn well.
Magic, I think.
It's basketball season. What can I say? And they still have Kittle. McCaffrey doesn't matter because any running back on the 49ers behind that O-line is going to do great. They were flummoxed from the beginning trying to figure out who to sign and how to sign him. And now Ayuk can trot around saying he's wide receiver 1. And if he's healthy, that eliminates the problem. And they have a Pearsall still. Did amazing last year. He got shot and played football. Like, I think they'll be fine.
Year, though. He's still an average wide receiver. He's had a cool story behind it.
Well, he missed a few weeks, didn't he? And on top of that, he was behind Debo, Ayuk, and the other guy. Was it like Rashad Jennings or was it
Jawan Jennings?
Yeah, Jawan Jennings.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
I don't think they're far off, and oh my god, I'm forgetting this coach's name too. Like, what is his name? No, that's Browns.
Yeah.
Oh my god, and their coach is still really good.
Too. Yeah.
Man, maybe I should stop doing this podcast. But
it's a little later in the day.
Yeah, but I think they'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. They're with the Rams. They're with the Cardinals. They're with the Seahawks.
Yeah,
I think I still think a bubble team's the minimum. But for the record, way too early NFC. You have them as 10 or 11.
Yeah. I say like 9, 11 to 9.
9, 10? Okay.
In between that range. I'm not high.
You know what? I'll let it ride. Who knows right now? There's still so much that could happen. Huh?
We'll come back.
Oh, boy. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 6. You know what?
I think it's a perfect rating.
I think it's pretty good. I think they win their division again. They added, oh my god, the Ohio State wide receiver, I think, is who they drafted first. Yes. Someone else too. Nevertheless, Baker Mayfield's back. They kept Mike Evans and Godwin. I think they're going to be in a great spot. I don't see the Buccaneers regressing much at all. Of course, Liam Cohen went to the Jaguars. I don't think he's going to be the secret to Baker Mayfield's success. I think he aided it. I don't think he was the reason. I'm personally a pretty big Baker Mayfield fan. Watching him do well in Tampa has been exciting.
He's shown success on multiple teams. It's not the coach. It's him.
Yeah, exactly. His drive to just be good, especially against former Ohio State people. But that's just my hunch. I think 6 pretty good. I don't know if I wouldn't put him top 5. I wouldn't put him any lower than 8. I think right in here on the bubble.
They're a playoff team, so I feel like they gotta be top 7.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess we don't have to talk much about that one.
That's fair. Oh,
Green Bay Packers at 5.
No, way too high. Way too high, bro. They lost to the Bears last year. They were struggling. Like a lot of their losses did come to the division, but they had a lot of close wins. Jordan Love, I don't think is the answer. Who was the other guy they had? Was it Malik Willis?
Yeah, Malik Willis.
Like he came out there and did the same thing as Jordan Love. You know, they have a lot of. They don't have any superstars, but they have a lot of big names around who are pretty above average. They're not a bad team overall. They just can never.
They're not consistently good either.
Yes, I don't. I think this is way too high, and I would put one of the lower teams up.
The Packers being 5 is kind of a nuts early power rankings. Because, they've won a couple playoff games here and there in the last 5 years. We don't have to point it out, but you know.
Alan, if you're watching.
I feel like 5's crazy high when you have the Lions, Vikings, and potential Bears in the same division. Not saying the Bears will beat them at all, but it's still a divisional game. They added Matthew Golden, a wide receiver. They clearly needed that. He needs some sort of targets. They still have, Josh Jacobs is running back. Jair Alexander, it sounds like they're trying to make it work on defense. I think they drafted a corner as well to kind of help that situation out. But I don't think of the Packers as a powerhouse. No, I think of them as a bubble team. Very, very 10 to 8 power ranking ranks. Them getting 5 over the Buccaneers and 49ers to me feels a little crazy when I think about where I'd want the Chargers to play versus where I wouldn't want them to play.
I would even put it. I'm not high on them. I'd probably even put the Falcons above the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Love's a pretty good. No,
it's not proven.
Yeah, but he's also gone into Dallas and won.
Dallas is
like
no.
Sorry, I hate the Cowboys.
The Cowboys were not very good the past couple of years or whatever. The Saints, Derek Carr went into Dallas and beat our ass last year.
Yeah, okay, fair, but also the Packers somehow stay in games I don't expect them to, and also lose games they should easily win.
Agreed.
Because wasn't it last year where it was Malik Willis versus the Colts in Green Bay, and it came down to just running the ball at the end of the game or something like that at field goal maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not high on the Packers. I just don't think of them like I would Aaron Rodgers was on there 4 years ago. Or 5 years ago.
If they made the playoffs, I wouldn't be shocked. But if they missed the playoffs, I also wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah. I mean, anywhere between 7 and 12, I would put this team.
Yeah, I agree.
And, maybe move up, not the Panthers, but someone else. This one, I was not expecting to see at 5.
Vikings definitely should be top 5 compared to Packers.
Honest to God, I'd probably put the Vikings above the Packers. That might be a hot take. LA Rams at number 4. They obviously lose Cooper Kupp. They get Devontae Adams.
Ouch.
Burse was an absolute killer on their defense. Became quite a star by the end of it, playing the Eagles, especially in the snow game in the playoffs. And they drafted a Ferguson as tight end, something Stafford really hasn't had too much on the Rams. Obviously, they had Higbee. I think they had a couple other tight ends that I can't remember completely, but they got him a good blocking, catching tight end.
They have Kyron Williams, too.
They have Kyron Williams. They still have
backup running back who wasn't really. He started getting some runs at the very
end. Oh my god. No, I mean, it's still Sean McVay. They added, is it Poona Ford from the Chargers, who had an amazing year last year as well. A 4 feels like a pretty solid rating.
That's probably where they'll be. They'll probably get the last playoffs.
They might.
They'll win the division, but this is the
I like the Rams at 4. I think they are in a good position. They almost lost Stafford in trade talks this offseason. Somehow they both came to their senses and didn't. As long as Stafford stays healthy, I think this is a solid team. I know Stafford's getting old, but what quarterback, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of young ones.
No, I know, but I'm waffling that, like, at some point Stafford's going to be too old. Who's to say this isn't this year, and who's to say it is this year? All I'm getting at is he's still a damn good quarterback as long as he's not playing in the snow in Philadelphia.
I don't hate this spot. It's just, if you would have asked me who's your top 4 without ever looking into all this, I would not say the Rams.
No. But it makes sense.
It does, the more we think about it. I don't know.
I don't have many comments for this, honestly. I think the Rams 4 could be worse.
I feel like I can't put them much lower.
No.
But I know I can't put them higher. So
I think their floor is 6 and their ceiling's 3.
Yeah. I agree.
If I'm being honest. All right. Washington Commanders at 3. A lot of things have to go right, in my opinion, to keep them at 3. Obviously, they worked on the O-line, keeping Jaden Daniels upright as he new quarterback and proven, obviously, going to be a problem in the NFC. Added Deebo Samuel in the offseason. Pretty good pickup for a young quarterback. Now he's got Scary Terry, Deebo Samuel. They had another wide receiver, Brown. They got rid of
Diami Brown, but they had the other guy still. Was it Zacchaeus?
Oh, yeah.
No, Zacchaeus.
We'll go with Zacchaeus. Everyone knows who we're probably talking about. Regardless, though, I think 3 is their ceiling. Ceiling. It's Jaden Daniels just has to do it again. Obviously, he can make offensive production. If that defense can get some stops, I think the Commanders will be in good shape.
Never mind, they traded him too.
Oh, well, shit.
They got Michael Gallup from the Cowboys.
Michael Gallup, pretty solid wide receiver 3. It'll be his first year, but he made it work with everybody. They still got Zach Ertz. Oh my God, who was their running back? I feel like such an idiot right now. In front of Eckler.
Oh my God.
He was really good. I know, we haven't thought about football in a few months. But they've got a good running back. The offensively, it's a great team. Brian Robinson Jr. Yes, from last year's draft. Yes. But offensively, this team's going to be great. I think sophomore slump is a real thing for quarterbacks. I think more teams will be ready to play him, knowing what he's going to do. I don't think that's going to help many teams. I think he's still a tricky-ass quarterback. Biggest threat to him may be getting hurt with how much he runs. But he took some pretty big shots last year, in all honesty.
He played through them, too.
And he played through them. I'm sure the team has said now, like, hey, you're the future. Don't kill yourself doing this.
No hurdles.
Yeah, exactly. Don't Andrew Luck it and feel like you're disrespecting the game by breaking your body in the process. I think 3 is the ceiling. Realistically, I think they're still amazing. I think they get 2nd in the NFC East or 3rd, depending on how the Cowboys end up doing.
Yeah.
I'd probably put the ceiling at 3. I'd probably put the floor at 6.
I think they're had one of the best off seasons so far.
Yes.
That's what's scary to me.
I agree. And as long as Jaden Daniels still does it, I think it's completely reasonable for them to be at 3 here.
The offense is just like the Bengals and the Lions. They can just shoot out with anyone.
Yes. They don't need the defense necessarily. If they can just give the offense a little break.
If the defense is playing, they're good. If the defense is playing somewhat okay, they usually win. Just scary.
Completely agree. And number 2, who do you think it is, Matt?
So the Eagles won the Super Bowl and going Lions.
Smart man. Detroit Lions at 2. They did lose both assistant coaches. Aaron Glenn went to the Jets. Ben Johnson went to the Bears. I feel like there will be some learning curves early on in the season that probably causes a bit of panic in Detroit. However, that roster is still crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing roster. I don't see there being much of a problem. They kept Jahmyr Gibbs. They kept David Montgomery. They still got him on Raw.
They got a pretty good young core. I mean, the locker room vibes seem to be amazing. No drama in Detroit. The fans are riling around so hard. And Hutchinson's going to be coming back this year. I believe they've also signed another edge rusher, and I believe they're debating on keeping the Zadarius Smith from the Browns last year, who was also an edge rusher. So they got that backed up in case anything does happen. So, I mean, I think they take division pretty easily.
Yeah, if that defense stays half as healthy as they did last year, I see no reason to think they can't be too. I do still kind of think that first 2 games of the season might be some learning curves with new assistant coaches, but it's still Dan Campbell.
Exactly. Dan Campbell will just override the play at the end of the day if he wants something done, as you can see with the fourth down conversions all the time.
Yes, exactly. I don't think it's anything to panic about. I am curious if we see any repercussions of both those assistant coaches leaving. I don't think we will. I think the Lions might be back.
The hardest games would probably be against the Bears, where they know his plays.
That's true. Ben Johnson, when the Bears and Lions play each other, should be cinema.
I just think the roster difference from the Lions to the Bears is
I would 100% agree.
Where I don't know if it matters too much.
They all click now too. Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff's slinging it like he's like 25 again.
Well, he had like 2 games in a row without a single incompletion.
That was a crazy stat last year with that. But that means number 1, Philadelphia Eagles. They did it again. They drafted amazing. People fell to them. They have a new offensive coordinator with Kevin Moore going to the Saints. But, I mean, it's the Eagles. They dominated the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Say what you want about Jalen Hurts. Say what you want about the tush push. It works. It's going to be another year of preying on a bird's downfall before the Philadelphia city burns.
I still think head-to-head, the Lions are a better team.
I wish it would have. Yeah, I wish we would have seen that NFC matchup.
Yeah, I do believe the Eagles lost some pieces. Their O-line never lost any, or did their O-line lose something? They lost.
I don't think so.
Yeah, okay. I think the O-line stayed healthy, but the defense lost a couple pieces.
Yes, the defense. It was like Josh Sweat and someone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they lost 2 or 3 key pieces, and I think they redrafted right back into it.
Yeah, and now they got the 2 white boys from last year already comfortable in this position. So, I mean, they're not going to have much problem fixing it, but...
No. Saquon Barkley, absolute demon.
Yeah. But scared. Those running back ones overall in the league usually don't stay running back 1-2 years in a row.
True, not as of late, but also Saquon's just a
demon,
established problem for everybody he faces.
I'm just trying to find something to give me hope.
I would. I'm not even gonna say it. I don't know what dethrones the Eagles, other than just an off week where they have to travel across the country. Like, they could lose to the Seattle Seahawks one week. It makes no sense, and it'd be like the Raiders-Ravens game last year. Where week 2, the Ravens beat the Raiders, or Raiders beat the Ravens.
Yeah, or 2 years ago, the Cardinals randomly showed up already out of play contention and beat the Eagles to give the Cowboys the 1 seed.
That's what I'm saying.
It's the random games any given Sunday.
It's gonna be one of those things. The Eagles lose 3 games this season. It will be the 3 last ones you expect, and it's gonna be the beginning, the middle, and the end of the season, and then they go into the playoffs first seed or something.
Yeah,
but we'll have to see. Again. This was not our predetermined rankings. We are basically reacting to Tyler Sullivan's on NBC Sports. Shout out Tyler Sullivan. He had some hot takes in here for the NFC. I liked his AFC rankings a lot more. The NFC ones, Tyler, I don't know if 49ers necessarily at 7 for numerous reasons. Falcons at 10 feels a bit odd. Putting
Packers at
the Cowboys
5, Cowboys at 11.
Panthers 14, bit odd. But I think he mainly based these around last year's final standings. And I will agree, you gotta prove it still. This is just a way too early power rankings. But nevertheless, I think that's it for me this week. You got anything else, Matt?
Nope. Should be good.
All right. Well, in that case, we will see you all next week on the Coy Pond. Everyone be safe, take it easy, and until next time, overreact to all of the schedule release videos. None of them were great, only the Chargers one was. Just kidding. All right, peace.